Retirement. That's what we're all aiming at, right? But exactly what does that mean? It conjures up visions of endless days of golf, drinks with little umbrellas in them on a tropical beach, feet up, reading a book. Is that what it's all about? I don't think so. Life would get pretty dull after a while without anything meaningful to do, don't you think? I'm Jackie Doucette, and I'm on a mission to discover exactly what life is like beyond retirement. Join me while I chat with people who've already done it, who've retired to something rather than from something. Let's find out together exactly what's waiting for us when we say goodbye to that 9 to 5.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Beyond Retirement. I'm your host, Jackie Doucette, and today I'm excited to be joined by Kim Costa. Kim's a top 5% realtor with Atlanta Fine Homes and Sotheby's International Realty. She speaks nationally for American Dream TV, and she's written a book called Live in Your Wheelhouse, which I'm sure we're going to talk about today. Kim, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Jackie, for having me.
I'm going to assume that most of the listeners haven't talked to you or heard of you before. So can you tell us a little bit about what you help people do? For someone meeting you for the first time, what is it that you do?
Sure. So, I'm a top realtor here in Atlanta, and I've developed a process called the Wheelhouse Method. And so, I help, clients buy and sell homes, but more than that, I help them pinpoint exactly what the pain points are, like why they're moving or why they're thinking about moving. And we, through talking with them and having a background in human resource development, I started listening for the pain points, and then I started categorizing them into 8 areas of the wheel of life. And so over the past 7 years, I've developed the process to not only help my clients, but also other people who could read the book or take a workshop and run through the process and then work with their own local realtor to get exactly what they need.
So in your time as a realtor, you've, I guess, figured out that buying a home isn't just about buying the home. It's about how you're going to feel and how it's going to interact with all the different parts of your life. And that's what helped you develop that wheel.
Yes.
Okay.
That's exactly right, because you may be buying. So if you're going to retire, your career has changed. You probably are an empty nester, most likely, unless you're very lucky and you're retiring early. So that's life change, and typically life change is one of the deciding factors in a move. So on the younger side, it could be getting married or having babies or a promotion, and you have to move across the country. So, but as we get towards retirement age, it's more like health issues, the end of a career, children moving across the country, and you want to see your grandchildren, and so that's a family and friends move. So it becomes a different set of circumstances in the different life stages that we have. And it's fascinating to me to see how a home just doesn't work anymore when your life changes, because there's a void typically. There's some kind of life change that's left a void, and now the home doesn't fit anymore.
Right. And I think that's a big thing. A lot of people try to stay in the home that they've always had. They figure this is going to be my forever home, but your forever home when you're 20 is very different from your forever home view when you're 55 or 60.
Sure. And the intent may be there, but sometimes, if the primary bedroom's upstairs or something, or it's a large home and a large yard that needs lots of maintenance, those become factors, as well as financial factors, the maintenance on a home and the taxes and all of those things. And then I think the fun thing that happens is, in the fun and leisure area, you're not, if you're retired, you're not necessarily pinned to a geographical location anymore, especially if your children have moved away. So the world is your oyster, and you can kind of say, well, maybe we'll downsize here and keep our roots, but we won't have to maintain a home, and let's get a little something in the mountains or at the beach or wherever it is you've always wanted to go, or just downsize and travel, get a lock and leave home, and lower the maintenance and go see all the places that you haven't been.
That sounds lovely to me. I like the
Yes.
lock and leave idea
Yes,
where you don't shovel and you don't mow and you don't do all those things.
exactly.
So let's go through all of the different aspects of the wheel. Talk about, what you consider when you're talking to someone about their retirement home.
Sure. So when someone's considering their retirement home, and it may be, so the subtitle of my book is An Empowering Guide to Stay, Go, or Reno. And so I actually do work with a lot of retiring folks. I'm, getting to that age myself, and my husband is in the process of retiring. So, many things to consider. So you want to consider in the health area, how's the home working for you? Are there any mobility issues that are impending or that have started? Hopefully not, and health is good, so we can continue on in that same home. In the same respect, we need to look at finances. How are our finances doing? Have we saved up enough to maintain this home? Or is there a lot of equity in the home and the size of the home might be unnecessary? So we might be able to take some of that equity out and put that into a different fund to live off of and to gain interest and live off of that for a while. So just simplify a little bit. Where are the friends and family? Has everyone moved out of your neighborhood? Are you still feeling connected there? Or would you like to move into a 55 plus neighborhood or something like that? Or closer to a walkable downtown where you could walk to dinner and not cook big meals anymore because there's only one or two of you. So you just go around the wheel and you just discuss. There's a series of questions that the reader can read or the workshop taker can ponder, and then they fill in the score from 1 to 10 in that area, and we talk about the specifics of what's working, what's not working, or what could be better.
So I did that. I used your little wheel.
Oh, good. Oh, I love it.
I think I need to move.
You don't want it to look like a flat tire. And if the wheel's kind of bumpy, you could have 8s and 10s and 7s in a lot of areas, but there could be one area that's a 0,
Yep.
and that would force a move. Or if you have all 3s, yeah. And when that flat tire makes it impossible to move forward in your life, it's time to move.
Yep. I've got a few little bumps here and there, so we'll see what happens.
Life is bumpy anyway.
It is. You talked a little bit about the changes that happen as you get older and as you're moving into retirement kind of life. What's one idea about aging or retirement that you think maybe doesn't fit in with the idea of your perfect home? I don't know if that makes sense. Like something that you would like to retire about retirement thinking.
Well, I think nowadays, for me, I think retirement should be like your third life. So we have our young life where we learn and grow and, meet a partner and maybe have children. And then there's that middle 30 years where we're so busy raising the children, working in a career, volunteering in the community, and making friends who are mostly our children's parents. Or if you don't have children, you're working that career or volunteering or, whatever it is that's occupying the middle part of your life, you're building, you're learning. But then when I'm about to turn 60, so I'm hoping, my mom is 89. She's doing great and just thriving and living, aging in place and driving and cooking and all the things. So I'm like, okay, I have another 30 years. What's my 34, less maybe 40, but good 30 years. What's that going to look like? So I think years and years ago, we didn't live past 45. And so we didn't have all this time left in our lives. So to me, retirement is like exciting. It's what did I love to do when I was younger, and then I kind of lost track of it. For me, it's writing. I'm writing again, which is why I wrote the book.
Yeah.
Or partly how I wrote the book, because I love to write and I love to travel and things like that. So I'm looking forward to doing all of that for however long I can. So to me, aging has such a connotation of just withering away. And I don't think that is completely accurate these days. I think that we do have access to a lot more possibilities of things we can do. And how many boomers are there out there? We're the majority of the population. We have more power than we think. So I'm right on the cusp of boomer and whatever the next one down is. Like I'm like in that year. So, and I have 3 older brothers. So I'm like in that. And my husband is firmly planted in the boomer age category. So I can absolutely, and a lot of my clients are as well. So I just see the potential.
And you talked about the changes that people make, like whether you want to move or reno or what you do. What kind of things should people be thinking about? We talked about the downsizing if your house is big, that sort of thing. But what kind of things can somebody do with their house if they really want to stay, but it's not quite right?
Okay, so I've seen this many times. So if you do have, excuse me, if you do have a primary bedroom on the main, I have many clients who will just kind of shut down the upstairs if there's bedrooms up there, and they'll go up and maybe, once every couple of weeks to check on things and get it cleaned once a month or go up there and tidy. But they shut the whole thing down and they adjust the thermostats so that it's not running all the time, so that it reduces costs and they don't have to clean as much up there because it's not being used, or vice versa. If there's a basement that used to be, the adult kids, young adult hangout, they kind of just shut that area down and operate off the main floor. And if their primary is upstairs, so they kind of reduce their space a little bit in their own home. For areas that they're not using. And then the other thing I've seen people do is repurpose rooms that were once used for other stage of life purposes. And so they will they have a hobby, painting, writing, doing some yoga, stretching, podcasting, right? You need a room for your podcasting.
Yep.
And so whatever interests are developing in our next phase of life, don't feel bad about repurposing those rooms. You could put a day bed in there, or a what do they call the flip down bed, the Murphy bed. Yeah, for the occasional company that may come. But every day you walk past that room, that's not being purposed for you, because on the off chance someone may come to visit. And so let's use the space that you have for the way your life is right now.
It's funny. I've never been able to find a way to make a Murphy bed work, because if it's up, I'm going to fill up that floor space and then I can't put it down. And if I put it down, it's going to be covered in something, so I can't flip it up.
It is a challenge. A lot of them are made to look like a cabinet now. So it just, and like you said, if you do have your desk, that's got to be moved against the wall and nothing can be in the center of the room. So it needs to be, you need to think about that when you're buying whatever you're going to put in the middle of that floor. Is where is it going to go when you do need to use the bed?
And what do you think is the part of your wheel of life that people most often neglect when they're thinking about retirement?
I think it is not even so much the retirement age folks, but I think everybody neglects the spirituality part. And it doesn't mean that you have to be super religious or, that is the primary reason. Although, some folks who move spirituality is the first thing they think of, because they have to walk to synagogue or that kind of a thing. And so they want to be close to their place of worship. But for people who, I had a farm once, and to me, the spirituality at that farm was sitting on the front porch, watching the geese fly over, looking for deer, and just appreciating nature and the grounding that I felt being in nature. And so that was spirituality to me. That was a 10 out of 10. Now, other areas in the home didn't work so well for me, but spirituality, I think, is neglected because it is one of those higher need. So Maslow's hierarchy is a part of my process. And so in each area, you go from physiological needs up to aesthetic needs. And so spirituality normally is right there in the middle with love and belonging, self-esteem, not so much safety or physiological. So it gets overlooked because sometimes it's not a pressing need.
Right.
It has been proven through studies that people who ground themselves in nature, get sunlight, appreciate spirituality in whatever form that looks like for them, are happier. And so I do think that is one area that people neglect, is just what makes me happy and how can I connect with nature and the creatures and the health of the sunlight and living things, other living things. And I think that gets neglected a little bit, especially today in this world.
I think so too. And I agree with you. It's something that people don't think about because these days people are worried about the simple things, have the roof over your head, have the money for the food, have those things. They don't have time to stop and appreciate nature or appreciate what's around them.
I agree. And if you're moving for spiritual reasons, you're in a pretty good place because it's not, you didn't lose your job, your health is probably good. You're just trying to, and this is lovely. I've actually had helped people move who were just looking for a little more peace and quiet and a garden and some community connection and to do some creative things. So I've actually helped some folks do this. And I was so happy that everything else in their life was going so well that was their biggest concern. And I was like, well, this is such a joy. I'm so happy for you.
I wish I was in that place.
And in 5 years, they may not be. That's the way life goes. But I think it is helpful to keep that in mind. And sometimes when things aren't going well, you've had a divorce, there's been a death in the family, an illness. Sometimes that spirituality takes over and saves the day. So it's something important to think about.
So when you talk about like your book's title, Live in Your Wheelhouse, we've been talking about what your wheelhouse is. It's everything. But what does it mean to you specifically?
To me specifically, it means matching my home environment to who I authentically am, not who I was trying to be for 25, 30 years and, lost my way, lost my authenticity a little bit. Nothing serious, but just felt like something was off and like, oh, I wish I was doing this. I was an accountant. I'm a creative person. I'm an extrovert. I was living in a remote farm. I was riding horses, but I'm a golfer. So I lost my way. Right. And so to me, I am golfing again. I am now writing and working with people, not numbers, in an office, closed behind doors. And I live in the middle of 3 small towns that my husband and I can travel to within 5 to 10 minutes and go to dinner and take a walk in the park. And there's lots of activity for me to feed my extroverted nature now. So that is living in my wheelhouse for me. And so, I'm helping other people, which is very important to me, with skills that I feel like I was given, like writing, communicating, empathy, listening. And so I'm living in my wheelhouse because I have place in my home that allows me to do those things that I'm good at.
And you help people because of your empathy and your listening skills and your desire to be with those people, you help them figure it out. But what do you do with them? If someone comes into you, what's the first thing you do when they say, I want to move and I don't know what I want?
I start with, tell me about what's going on. What's going on with your life right now? Like what is your biggest pain point right now? Right. And so they'll say, well, I'm switching jobs, or we don't like the school for our kids, or I have a new dog and I have no yard, or whatever it is. I'm in a condo and I have to go 18 floors down to get the dog out. So it could be something simple like that, or like I'm lonely, so I got the dog and now I'm like, the dog is going potty in the elevator. I can't live here anymore. And so, you just start listening to what is frustrating them? What are they sad about? What is What are they complaining about that they want to fix? And you start there because you want to acknowledge exactly what's going on with them. And from there, I ask questions in some of the other areas to make sure we don't create another problem while we're solving the first one that's top of mind right now.
That was going to be the next question.
Yeah.
Was, once you're fixing something, say the environment, how do you ensure that, all the other steps? I mean, finance might be easier to solve because
Yes.
you've got to keep it within a budget, but
Right.
It's hard to do all of those things and
It
keep that
is.
wheel from going flat.
So say you move from the city condo to a small little cottage, out where you have a yard and everything, but the healthcare isn't good. You have to travel 45 minutes to get to your doctors now. So, I mean, these are all things you can't, because sometimes you think, oh, I need to fix this one thing. But then when you start considering your options, we need to make a list of what's important. Like, okay, my knee doctor is 45 minutes away. So I either need to get a new doctor or travel or move closer. And so it's always option A, B, and C with me. It's like,
Right.
okay, if we do this, we need to consider that. And so which is more important to you? Having the space or being close to the doctor?
So it's kind of like budgeting for your nice to haves.
Yeah.
When you're finance budgeting, you have to say, do I want this or do I want this? Which one's more important?
Which one's more important? Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And that goes for every single area. And then as you're looking at the 8 different areas, a lot of times, always I ask, what is the most important area to you? Because if you have a 2 in spirituality, and an 8 in finance, we don't want to fix spirituality at the detriment of finance. And so we're going to prioritize finance higher on our list of what we need than some of the other items.
Right. So when you first started dealing with people and their lifestyle as well as their desire for a new home, what was the thing that surprised you most about doing this process?
Sometimes, you know what? It's the timing that surprises me. Sometimes I wonder why people let themselves suffer so long in a situation that isn't right for them. And I'm not sure, some people have different decision-making styles. Now, on the flip side, timing has also surprised me because people have made a hasty decision and moved somewhere, and maybe I wasn't involved and not really thought it through. And then they're moving again within the year. And so I think it's timing. There's a sweet spot in between acting hastily and waiting too long. I've had some clients who waited too long and their health deteriorated, and then it became an issue because there was no one to organize and move the stuff out of the large home. And it became, a logistical problem. So, we had other people had to get involved and handle things that probably could have been handled like over 10 years. Let's organize, let's give things away, let's have a sale of the items we don't need, someone else could use them. And then your children aren't left, trying to figure out what to do with 8,000 square feet of things. Yeah.
When someone comes to you and they think they know what they want and they've decided, that they need to move, how do you help them figure out or determine whether it's something that they really want or something that they think they should want? Like, a lot of people are caught up in the idea that, well, we should do this because
Yes.
we're this age.
Right. We should move to Florida because that's what people do at this age. But I'm telling you, a lot of people move to Florida and then it's too hot. They cannot take the heat in the summertime. And so there's a name for it, but I can't recall what it is. It's like a halfback move. Like they go to Florida and then they settle in North Carolina because it's still warmer from where they came from, but the summer's not so harsh. There's still 4 seasons. So we get a lot of adjustments that way. And that's okay. That's okay. Yeah.
I've been wondering about that because I don't like the Canadian winters, and I'm very kind of vocal about that, and I like them less every year.
Yes,
And
I
I
can
told my
understand.
husband when I retired that I wasn't spending winter in Canada anymore.
Yes.
So I've been trying to find what's too hot for me because I want hot. I'm happy with hot.
Yes.
So I did a house sit, and I did this house sit in Phoenix in August.
Wonderful.
Phoenix in August is hot.
August is hot. I think maybe October through March or April might be better.
But I liked it. I mean, I opened the door to go outside, and it feels like you're opening your oven,
Yes.
which is nice. I mean, in the summer here, I open the door and I start to sweat.
Yes.
It's not the same thing.
Yes. It's like a permeating heat
Yeah.
in those areas. Yes. Well, I mean, so that is what I actually recommend to people is if you are going to make a change, go try it out first and make sure. And if you're going to make a permanent change, it sounds like you might be considering going somewhere for just the winter, but keeping a home in Canada and up north.
Yeah, I don't know. We're kind of waffling a little bit. I wanted to move permanently.
Yes.
My kids aren't real thrilled with that idea, but I figure, having a home in Mexico would be good. They could come and visit whenever they want.
Have a destination home. Exactly.
Exactly. Yeah.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
you
So,
never know.
I mean, you could go try it out. Invite them down for some kind of holiday or something where you celebrate with the family, and then they make. But if they live locally, I mean, I did the same thing with my parents. They bought a home in Florida, and thank goodness they could have two homes, so they went back and forth. Because if they had moved down there permanently, I would have been sad. But we sure did visit a lot because they were there quite often. And those were great, great memories. And it wasn't like when you live here locally because you're in the home and you're spending, you're waking up with them, you're having breakfast the whole week or 10 days. You're very much immersed together, and it's such special times for everybody. Yeah. So I think people find a way of making what they want work. And, I mean, a lot of times the adult kids are busy, with activities and stuff like that. So you don't see them all the time anyway. So
that's it. Exactly.
Maybe a compromise is in order, but try it out first and maybe spend 2-3 months down there and invite each of them down with family or all together. So you could spend some time together, and they might be like, you cannot move. You can't. We need to do this all the time. We need to just come visit you. This is going to be a yearly thing. And maybe they have guest rooms where you can come back and visit them certain times of the year too. And it becomes, 2, 3, 4 weeks out of the year that you're together.
Lots of different options.
There are options.
Permutations of living arrangements.
Yes. And make it fun to go investigate.
Well, I know I have fun because I spend my winter in Mexico traveling around trying to decide which place I want to live, and they're at home dealing with snow.
Yeah, exactly. I just spoke with somebody 2 days ago in Playa del Carmen.
Mm-hmm.
She loves it.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. It's a beautiful spot.
Mm-hmm.
I had one more question. I'm not sure. See if I can find it.
Sure.
What is the biggest regret that you've heard people have after they've made a move? And if they've done all the things that you've suggested, hopefully they don't have many regrets, but I'm sure that every once in a while someone does. What's the biggest regret that they have after they've moved?
So I once had a client, now this was back in 22, I think, when everything was just crazy with the real estate market, and you had to decide within one day of seeing a home if you were going to get it or not. And that is partly why I finished writing the book, because so many people, 82% of everyone who bought a home in 23 and 24 had major regrets. So that is, with 25 to 30 million people moving a year, that's a lot of people.
Yep.
Yeah. And then I think 12% of those didn't even like the home that they got into. So that was like 3 million people a year. That's a lot. Wow. So there's some unhappy folks out there right now. But my specific example, we were getting ready to go to closing, and my client, they were moving from another area, buying here in North Atlanta. We had looked at a bunch of homes, but they were going quickly, and we had lost out on a couple of homes that we didn't move very quickly on. So we got it with this beautiful home, gorgeous luxury home, but we were standing in the kitchen, literally on our way to closing, doing the final walkthrough, and the look on the face of the wife, she started to cry. And I was like, oh no. And the husband was like, what's wrong? She goes, it's okay. She was like, I'm going to have to totally redo this kitchen, but it's okay. And I was like, oh my gosh. I mean, if we back out now, you'll lose your money and blah, 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 all the things. So they bought it. And I mean, the yard wasn't big enough. I knew what was wrong, but they needed a home and we were headed to closing. So they bought the home. Now, thankfully this ends well because prices went up about 20% that year. And they did remodel the kitchen just to see if because we talked about it afterwards. And I said, well, I mean, we could turn around and sell it in the spring. You'll probably make money on it. And then, we'll get you exactly what you want. Now you're living here. We have time to go look at everything and you're not under a time pressure. So she said, well, let me see if I like it better, if I redo this and that. So she redid like $100,000 worth of stuff. Well, they made about $250,000 on the home after remodeling it. So besides the time spent, all's well that ends well. But I did not like going that fast in this process. I didn't feel like people had enough time to really think about what they wanted. They had to buy a house, sometimes sight unseen.
Yeah, that's a scary thing to do.
Yes. And I'm glad we're not in that situation anymore.
But it was good for the sellers.
The sellers made out very well, and they're now in what I think is the perfect home for them.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. So, Kim, where can people find you if they want to reach out to you?
Oh, sure. Okay. So if you're on social media, I'm at Kim E. Costa everywhere. So that's Kim, and then the initial E is my middle name, Ellen, and last name Costa, Costa. And my website, if you want to check out the book, which is coming out in March, there's a lot of bonuses for pre-ordering, including several chapters, a workbook, and things that you can get started on now. And that's at lifestylefoundations.com.
Okay. I'll make sure that that's in the show notes.
Wonderful.
Is there anything you'd like to tell people other than about your book before we finish up?
Well, let's see. I think don't worry about what everybody else is doing. This time is your time to be you. You've probably done everything for everybody else, or a lot of people have done everything for everybody else to raise the family, to get the nest egg, volunteering in the community, but do not be afraid to take some time for yourself while you're still healthy and you have the finances to do so and the time to enjoy the rest of your life, and really think about what that looks like for you.
I think that's pretty wise advice. I think most of us don't take that time as often as we should. Well, thank you very much for being with me today. I think you've shared a lot of information, and I'm sure that people will take a look at your wheel of life and think about what it's like to live in their wheelhouse.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for having me. And I'm really excited to talk more about it.
And that's it for this episode of Beyond Retirement. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I hope you enjoyed it. Are you ready to start rocking your retirement? Head on over to www.beyondretirement.ca/rocking it and sign up to plan out your own roadmap for retirement. Don't wait till it's too late.